সে ব্যবহার করবে। ওকে, তো মানে মানে সত্যি কথা বলতে কি, বিকাশ ইজ জাস্ট ওয়ান ইন্টারভেনশনাল ইনিশিয়েটিভ ডিজিটাল টেকনোলজিকে ব্যবহার করে করা হচ্ছে। সুতরাং এরও লিমিটেশন আছে। মানে আমার
এবং ডোনার সবাই মিলে আমরা এক জায়গায় আলাপ আলোচনা করে উই ক্যান লার্ন ফ্রম ইচ আদার। সো আমরা আজকে সেজন্য আমাদের প্যানেলিস্টদের কাছে আমাদের কৃতজ্ঞতা প্রকাশ করছি, and at the same time we are really grateful to our audience. The audience was really very much active for the last 2 days, so that's why we are really
Sir, you can report this to the
We'd like to thank our partners for extending their cooperation in the first Green International Conference and Infusion 2019. The conference partners are Concern Worldwide, Watershed Infusion Sanitation International, Financial Express, Bani Bhatta. We'd like to express our deep appreciation to all the partners.
We have discussed many topics over the last few days. Number of them. We started with the definition of inclusion, and we did not keep limited to financial inclusion only, because that can take so that cannot be level where the living will be so other services as well. Also, it has to be continuous, level one, and adequate. So unless basis to move forward, the financial inclusion of sorts will have to help for the type of development that we want to achieve, and that is sustainable development that we will participate in a meaningful manner. So we discussed around that regulatory system, policy framework, social, economic inclusion, and environmental protection. We discussed leadership. We discussed innovative models and schemes. We discussed how you transmit money to the banks, to MFIs, particularly now we are focusing on mobile banking, that can be done adequately. But everybody's interest, I think that's what is important. And digital platforms we have discussed. We have discussed how do we go after the human level to this process of financial and social inclusion. The process of transmission we have discussed at length in several sessions I think. Everybody has to benefit. The institutions, the transmitting the money, they have to survive, they have to make profit, but also the interests of the people who borrow, who are generally very poor, or non-poor but still at a low level of income, they have to benefit so that they can move forward, and that's the extremely important issue. We have discussed the challenges facing funding the poor. How do you do that? What are the institutions we have discussed? The banks we have discussed. We have discussed MFIs. We have discussed PKSF plus other institutions. So it has been a wide-ranging discussions. Now we have the conclusions, and we also have 2 or 3 international participants from India, one from Indonesia, 2 from India, 1 from Indonesia. Anybody else? And also some international people in that. So That's why it's very international. Or is it cheating? International conference? I think it is. So we have at least Indonesian perspective, we have Indian perspective, and we have American perspective as well. So I think it is international. So when America is included, it must be international. That's good. So it's an international conference. Now, this is the concluding session. I just gave an overview of what has been achieved. Two guests this late afternoon. First, I will ask Dr. Mushtaq to make his remarks, and then I'll ask the chief guest to give us his insight.
Thank you, Honorable. Distinguished participants, a very good afternoon to you all. First of all, my apology that I couldn't attend the exciting session that was held over the last 2 days. BRAC had its board meeting, also the AGM yesterday, and this morning I had some duty with my grandchildren, so I couldn't be here. But I'm very happy and very pleased to be here today. Now in this concluded session. So I will be very brief because I don't know much about this area, although I have been working with BRAC for 42 years. As I said that I spent almost all my life with BRAC, and BRAC is a major player in financial inclusion in this country and also internationally. BRAC started the microfinance program back in 1974, probably one of the first in Bangladesh. Of course, before BRAC, Rabindranath Tagore started microfinance even in the 30s and 20s. So the first thing that we did in BRAC was to provide small loans to the poor people, people in poverty. And the purpose was really for them to connect to the local Krishi bank so that they can get the loans ultimately from the institutions. But that didn't happen. So we are very frustrated. After that, we did it all ourselves. And now, as you perhaps probably have heard, that BRAC is one of the largest MFI in this country, and that just as a kind of a figure, last year in 2018, BRAC disbursed loans to the tune of 35,000 crores of taka only last year to about 5.5 million borrowers. So that makes BRAC one of the largest MFIs in this country. But a lot of discussion in this conference has been on human dignity. And Dr. Kazi Khaliluzzaman is a big promoter of that, and he has transformed many of the organizations towards talking more about and doing more about human dignity. And we thought that just providing microfinance is not enough towards increasing human dignity. So we tried to empower the people in poverty on healthcare, on education, and so on and so forth. And in each of the microfinance group, we created one community health worker, for example, who was a woman. So through this kind of thing, we have tried to look at poverty from a very holistic point of view. But as we move forward, as back as in the late 80s, one of the initial findings we had was that through microfinance we were leaving a large portion of the poorest of the poor. And that's what we call the ultra poor. They are the bottom 15% of the population in the income scale. So what to be done for them? Because there are both problems of supply side as well as the demand side for the poorest to access microfinance. So we started working with the government and also the World Food Program, because at that time the government had a program called the VGF, the Vulnerable Group Feeding Program, and it was just a dole-out program, and we started talking to government whether some kind of training can be built into it, so that at the end of the 2-year dole, the women who are receiving that, who are from the poorest of the poor, of course, they could still be earning money through poultry rearing and so on. So that became a major program of BRAC in the 80s and also in the 90s. But then that was covering only a small proportion of the poorest of the poor. So what could be done for the others? So we developed a new program, what we called at that time targeting the ultra poor, which has now been named as the graduation program. And that's the program through which some form of assets and also healthcare and also training are provided. And this program has actually scaled up to a great extent. Over the last 15 years or so, more than 2 million families have been reached. And the research have shown that about 95% of those which are reached through this program actually sort of get out of ultra poverty, but they are still in poverty, of course. And they are able to access the microfinance program and other poverty alleviation programs. So this program attracted the attention of the Ford Foundation as well as the our honorable chief guest was part of the Ford Foundation at some point, and also the World Bank. And they replicated this program in many countries in Asia, Africa, and also Latin America. And the Yale University as well as the World Bank and the London School of Economics, they did studies to find out the impact of that program. And they found that even after 9 years of this program, the women and the families were still sort of progressing, having their increased income and so on and so forth. So this has become one of the major programs of BRAC and is sort of gotten quite a lot of traction. And that's one of the major sort of financial inclusion program that BRAC has been running. My colleague in Bikash, Kamal Khatib, has been talking earlier, and as you have heard from him probably, that through the Bikash, which is also a kind of a financial inclusion program anyway, that serves, there are about 5 million transactions happening every day, and the amount of transaction is about 200 taka. So it's actually reaching out to the poor people as well. So that's what I wanted to just share. I'm sorry if you have already heard about that. The other thing that I want to say before I conclude is that that's about microfinance. And it seems that microfinance that we knew of is kind of losing its, to some extent, the moral compass. When microfinance was first used in the 70s and 80s, the MFIs used to say that this is for poverty alleviation. But hardly now any MFIs call this a poverty alleviation tool. What we call is that it's a inclusion, which will of course lead to some sort of poverty alleviation, of course. But replacing poverty alleviation by financial inclusion sort of dilutes the main message of microfinance, in my opinion. So I would urge the MFIs, including our own, that we really take note of that we don't lose the moral compass. the reason why microfinance came into being. So with these few words, I congratulate all the people here, all the participants for attending this conference, and I am again sorry that I could not be here for the last 2 days. And I thank the organizers, the FINBI and also the INM for organizing this conference and also inviting me as a special guest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mushtaq Choudhury, for giving us this analysis of how microfinance started and what its purpose should be. Now, one of the things, before I invite the chief guest, let me mention it, mention again, that there is an outstanding loan in the sector, around 80,000 crore in the market, which is around 9 to 10 billion US dollars. So it's a major player. And PKSF partners are about 28,000 out of that, out of 28,000. I don't know about the others may come back, it's a major player, Asha is coming behind, so that's the size of the operation that we are talking about. So it's huge. And many players are there. Now we have to maybe establish one thing that little bit of money about microloan and microcredit. Even microfinance, I don't like this stuff. It has to be appropriate for if a person is very poor, one may not be able to use more than 7,000 or 20,000, but that's appropriate for him. Why should it be microfinance? While Bill Gates, we don't say that he is a major credit thing. Or in here, in our countries, crores of takas that people are taking. And we're not calling them anything else, but that they credit. So I think this is derogatory also, microfinance. You are identifying some people who are too pure companies. So it's a derogatory concept. Therefore, I have been trying to get rid of this stuff, although I have not succeeded, because it has been drilled into the minds and souls of people here. So it's appropriate, whatever the amount a person can use. So we go up 10 lakh, 1 million. So it can't be micro and financial. So it has to be appropriate to the context. And then the other services they need so that they can create a basis for them to move forward. That also must be appropriate. So they need education, they need health services, they need a house, they need water, they need energy, whatever. All the other. Human being is multidimensional. Human living is multidimensional. And therefore multidimensionality has to be captured. And that's the concept that the sustainable development has been developed around all those considerations. If you look at the 17 goals and see all these 169 targets, you will find all these are there, multidimensional. And also nobody can be excluded in sustainable development. So that's the basic framework that we should be working. And therefore we should deal with the circumstances of the people that we are trying to help. We are not working for them, but we are working with them. I think that's the concept has to be very clear also. If you work for them, then you are a donor kind of thing. You are not. You have an opportunity to help people, and therefore you are doing that, and you are also getting paid for that. Now, they say they are beneficiary. Right? So they are not beneficiary. The person who is taking the money to him is more beneficiary because he is going in a Pajero car or something. So why should they be beneficiary? People who are borrowing 10,000 or 20,000 taka. They are partners. Yeah, our partner is our, the institutions, the NGOs are our partners, PKSF partners. And they are their partners, so we're all partners. And that goes into the whole process that we are now trying to promote, a human-centric, multi-dimensional, integrated. It has to be also integrated. Otherwise, you can't create a basis to move forward on a sustainable basis. So for sustainable development, it has to be integrated. And all the services that a particular person needs. So also, we have to develop the program on the basis of the ideas, on the basis of the expectations of the people themselves, rather than do it sitting somewhere else, thinking that this is what they need. Find out what they need, and that's what we do. We have now family plan, family development plan, at least in 202 units, covering about 17 million, although 7 million. 7 million, 7 million people at least we are covering that. And we meaning partners of Public Commercial Foundation. Now the issue now is how to move the money fast. We have all digitalized the PKSF partner part. But now from partner to the members, that's the part we are now trying to work out. First we tried banks, but that doesn't work very well because banks don't have branches. So they have to still work and go from there, income, money, and time, and so on to the government. So now we are thinking of mobile banking. For PKSF, and the INM does the research part. INM is also now a multi-dimensional, engaged in multi-dimensional research. It was previously Institute of Microfinance. It was just focusing on the microfinance and the nitty-gritties about that. Now it has been widened. It also deals with the human being in his or her multi-dimensional needs and expectations. So the whole purpose of this conference was to understand the classes, bring in the actors, the parents, the institutions that have transmitted money like Bikash, and then one other thing, the banks as well, the agent banking. Now there are certain questions. We should, I think, I didn't know it very well, but I have learned, I should transmit it to you. But they have agent banks, they collect deposits, and huge amount of deposit, but they invest in rural areas for 10% or something. So 90% they are bringing from rural areas to the urban area. So that's not very fair. There is one aspect to it is people are now saving in a safe institution, probably. So that's good. But it's not good enough. If we are taking money, we are trying to put money into the rural areas. Amalgam, Amashore. But if we are taking money out of rural areas, then probably we are not helping that goal that we have set ourselves. So these are the issues that we have discussed and we would like to discuss further. And I think the regulators, the Bangladesh Bank was very much present in almost all the sessions. I hope there are some people here even now. So that's something I think we should engage ourselves and clear up by trying to use a certain technology will do more harm perhaps than good. So we have to consider both sides, the benefit side as well as the upsides and downsides both, and then see how well we can do that. So this is the beginning of this conference, and Dr. Gafar Rizvi has had a very varied career, experiences, international, national, all kinds of institutions, research institutions, teaching institutions, all lot. So he has a wide background, very, very rich background, and we'd like to hear from him now his thoughts about what we have been doing here today, and we intend to take it forward.
Thank you, Chairperson. Very and gentlemen friends. First, I must, and it is not pretending, I must really apologize. At the end of 2 days of very, very exciting, intensive discussion, I come from nowhere, and I'm really offer something really for I also apologize that I'm speaking after two extraordinary people, somebody who has done for 2 years in breath, and I refer to our chair sometimes as QK Bhai or sometimes Kulkuzaman is he, as whatever little that I know, has learned largely from this.
Very much related to financial inclusions. So, as an organization, how your organization is addressing this issue, like the financial inclusions in water or sanitation in your organization? Thank you very much.
And today, as I was listening to your comments, I felt I would probably do better by talking or commenting on what you have said other than anything I might want to say. Basically, it is truly wonderful, Mushtaq also referred, that your emphasis on human dignity truly was a lacking element, and in many ways it retarded the progress of the law. So that's not a nice aesthetic sense that we ought to be respectful and give people dignity, but it has also a developmental side which needs to be also looked at. Along this line, I have three little suggestions, but then I'll try to make some general comments. In the 1990s, in a very vague way, I had the same discomfort that we are the foundation, we make grants, and the rest are grantees. And I felt very uncomfortable, and we actually moved to the same name as you have done. We began to call our grantees partners. And that put them at an equal level, so when they came to discuss a request for a project or a grant, the dynamics became very, very different. And in any case, we also had learned that much of what we were doing was we were learning from the experience of our partners, rather than we brought no skill, no expertise. And we will learn from one and transmit it to another. Partner is obviously a very second thing also that helped a little bit. When you work in these donor agencies, organizations, you expect the recipients, beneficiaries, whatever partners you want to call, them to be accountable to you, which was absolutely the wrong thing to do. And again, we moved away. In the past, they would write annual report and send their account to the foundation. And as long as it was received and as long as we filed it, we had met our fiduciary responsibility. We turned it around and we said that you are accountable to the community that you are serving. So we want to hear of you from the community you serve. Are you doing what they want, or are you doing what you want? And that again made our foundation staff much more careful, sensitive, and respectful. So the last one, which is more difficult to do, but nonetheless we tried. Normally, and with all respect to, and myself come from the civil society, not-for-profit sector, despite my current international. Most of us in the non-profit sector come from middle-class educated background. And our attitude has always been, we do for you. We do for you. We will do this for you. We will do that for you. we are God created emissaries. And therefore, we also tried to turn that around, not very successfully. Anyway, I left for Ford Foundation the turn of the century. Was that we started insisting that if you're going to work with a community, we will work with an organization that comes from the community. It is locally based in the community. You will understand that easily. We used to work a lot with Dalits. So we said only Dalits, with the Dalit members will sit on the board. Me and you will not sit, and so forth. So they were empowered, and it was a tremendous thing when it succeeded. Suddenly, instead of them begging, we created the Dalit Foundation, and they would sit on the board and they would decide. So I'm really grateful to you that you have injected, very powerful. But what we do doesn't matter. What QK does matters, because he will have the whole country listening to him. Let me now go back to the subject of the conference. And I'm really glad when I came in, I looked at the board in the back and looked very carefully, and he said, financial inclusion. My heart sank. What do I know about financial inclusion? But when you summarize what the conference has done, I said, okay, there is still hope. I might be. I honestly believe today we are all talking about inclusion, and yet it is the most important thing to talk. Without this, whatever we achieve, whatever development happens, I won't say it's not worth doing, but it is not certainly meaningful. While we all talk about it, I'm not sure how many of us have actually internalized it, and how many of us actually believe that this should be done consciously. By just saying that, yes, we will include. We have been through these symbolic gestures for a long time. When we talk about gender equality, gender inclusion, in a panel of 10 people, we'll put one woman at the far end. And that is inclusion. I don't think it will. And Bangladesh did a remarkable job in meeting the Millennium Development Goals. Remarkable. All right, we had the international community had set a low bar, and we happily jumped over the bar and congratulated ourselves, not demeaning ourselves, but we congratulated ourselves much too early. This time, the real beauty and the real challenge of sustainable development goals is we can't just be pleased by doing well ourselves. In every sector, every target, every goal, this must include comprehensively everybody, people of all sectors, gender, religion. And this is a serious challenge. And while I'm confident, the way we are putting a lot of energy, we have deployed a lot of resources, both human and capital, personal and financial. Unless we do consciously, I fear we may fall short there. And what is really somewhat depressing for me is that just when we are talking about inclusion, nobody left behind. Our policies, I'm not talking government policy, I'm talking about the middle class demand-driven policies. We are actually moving away from it. Today, affirmative action